We're now in the section on measurement. This is one of the 5 major sections of grade 8 maths. We're going to start off with area and perimeter of 2D shapes before we move on to volume and surface area of 3D shapes. And we're going to start off with squares. So what is a square? A square has equal length sides at right angles, right? So we have a square with a height and a length. So for a square, the length is always equal to the height, where the length is equal to the height. We're going to call this the length of the side S. There's no point calling them different things because they are always equal. So we're going to call that the 2 sides of the square, or the 4 sides of the square. So the square with side S. So we have a square. What is the perimeter of a square? The perimeter, if you don't know what a perimeter is, it's the total length of the sides, right? So the total length of all of these sides added up together. You can quite easily see that the total length of a square is the perimeter, which we're going to denote as P, and that is equal to S plus S, there's an S, plus an S, plus another S, plus another S. And that's quite easy. The perimeter is equal to 4S. So what is the area of a square? Right, so we have a square, 4 by 4 in length. Let's just say, for example, we said there are 4 unit blocks at the bottom, where there's 1, 2, 3, 4 here. You can see there's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to 4. And then we have the same going up. As you can see, the area is 16 units. What do I mean by units? If you had to take each of these squares, which is 1 by 1 units squares, there are 16 of them. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So there are 16 blocks here. What do you notice about 16? This is the same as saying the area is the length times the height, which is the length of 4 times the height of 4. But because it's a square, we know that S and S, or the length and the height, are going to equal S, and it's always going to be the same. So we say that is equal to S squared. So the area of a square is the side squared. That easy. The area here is 4 squared, which is equal to 16 units. Let's have a look at an example. A square has a side of 5 meters. Draw and label the square. Okay. We're going to simply draw our square here. Oops, not a very good square. There's a 5, a 5. Squares obviously all have right angles and straight lines. Nothing funny like that. Right angle, right angle. There we've drawn our square. You don't have to draw the right angles. Calculate the perimeter. The perimeter P of a square is equal to 4S. So that is equal to 4 multiplied by 5. And that is equal to 20. And what do we say? 20 meters. You've got to write your units. 20 meters. Calculate the area of the square. What is the area of a square? What's our formula? Area is equal to S squared. S is 5 squared. What is 5 times 5? We know that that is 25. Now this is only half correct. You must go meters squared. And that is the area of a square. Let's have a look at another example. We have here a coordinate system, a Cartesian plane. You might have dealt with this before in previous videos. If not, make sure you watch those videos. So we have our x and our y. Remember, x is always going along the bottom and y is always going along the top. If you haven't done this, use a Cartesian plane before. And we've labeled some of the points, and that's 0.5. So we can quite see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So that must be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the same along the bottom. But they've just labeled the 5 to make it easier. And now we have a square. And here's our square. So what is the length of the square sides? Okay. How are we going to work this out? We can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That seems about right. So we put in our 5 and our 6. And we got, our 1 and our 6. We have a 1, we have a 6. And we can quite easily see that 6 minus 1 is equal to 5 units. And that is the length of the sides of the squares, 5 units. You could just write 5, I suppose. Calculate the perimeter of the square. What is perimeter? Perimeter is equal to 4s. And that's again 4 times 5. Oh, that's quite convenient. We've done that. That's 20 units. If it doesn't tell you what the units are, just write units. Calculate the area of the square. Again, area is equal to s squared, which is equal to 5 squared. As we did in the last one, that's 25 units squared. Okay, let's go on to a last example. A square has a side of 2.3 meters. Draw and label the square. Okay, so we draw a better square this time, hopefully, as 2.3 centimeters and 2.3 centimeters. Remember, it's a square. We know there are right angles everywhere, and that makes it a square. And these are equal lengths. Calculate the perimeter of the square. We know that perimeter P is equal to 4s. Keep writing this equation to keep practicing. So that's 4 multiplied by 2.3. So let's go 4 multiplied by 2. What is 4 multiplied by 2? We know that is equal to 8. Plus 4 multiplied by 0.3. We know 0.3 plus 0.3 is 0.6. Plus another 0.3 is 0.9. Plus another 0.3 is 1.2. So that's 1.2. And 8 plus 1.2 is 9.2 centimeters. And that is our answer. Right? Calculate the area of the square. We know that area is equal to s squared. So that is equal to 2.3 squared. Now here, if you want to, you can go 2.3 multiplied by 2.3. What's 3 times 3? That's 9. What's 3 times 2? That's 6. We add our magic 0. What's 2 times 3? That's 6. And 2 times 2 is 4. We add these up, we get 9, 2, 1, 5. We have 2 decimals, so the decimal comes there. And that is 5.29 units squared. So that is equal to 5.29 units squared. And that is your answer. Well done, grade 8s. That's the section on squares. We're going to now move on to rectangles.